take it over, don't put it in the lease, don't ask for it to be done. It shouldn't be a complication inside the overall development project. Simple as that. Don't create a problem. You've got to be stronger and tougher and have to, give the necessary authority to take it out of the scheme even if the developer's prepared to pay for it. That's fine. But if the client department at the end of the day has not got the ability to take it over, why should it be built? I think it's a very straightforward question, and I think the answer is self-evident. It's something, again, it needs a bit more clarity of thinking so that the policies go out and are very clearly articulated. It goes back to the fundamental point. Do you really think developers are happy to have GIC facilities in their projects? They're not, are they? I mean, let's have a reality check here. I'll put my mediator's hat on. They don't, do they? It's oil and water. They don't actually mix. And wherever possible, it's got to be, try and separate it out. Really, for everybody's sanity, to avoid all the problems of being articulated, these 500 cases, can I get access, can I not get access? We've created the problem. In fact, as I say, when it started in the 1980s, the sort of community's awareness of what it was entitled to wasn't as alert as it is today. Fine, everyone is awake. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I'm now a citizen of Hong Kong. I want, you need the transparency that you're talking about. Absolutely right. But if you've asked a developer to provide public open space on a fourth floor podium, going through somebody else's, access to private residential flats, it's a recipe for disaster. It's got to be avoided wherever possible. And Chris's example was fantastic. Where should open space be? On the ground floor, please. Where I can get in and get out without sort of these conflicts being generated. It's not rocket science, it's common sense, isn't it? And I think we need to take a step back from that and sort of, But again, I'm trying to give you, you can throw rotten tomatoes at me if you will, I don't mind, I'll try and catch them. Let's talk about the open space, more specifically, which is the subject of the current consultation. In the overall scheme of things, open space as such, planting of trees, grass, a few shades, nice flooring, you look at the overall, the cost of the land, you look at the cost of construction, it's peanuts for the developer. Absolutely, he won't mind paying for that. And he won't mind doing it at the same time of his development, because he won't want a bare piece of land sitting next to him looking horrible, because that will then diminish the value of what he's trying to do there. He's quite happy to build that, but please, can we have someone to take it over and run it properly when it's finished? I don't think that's too much to ask. They're prepared to make that contribution. But I think, whether it's LCSD or whoever, whether it's, like the waterfront, or we're going to have some NGOs or some public-private partnership type arrangements, that isn't going to apply for residential developments in, more remote locations. But where you've got an open space request made, I would articulate very strongly, it's got to be at ground level, it's got to be capable of independent access. I think the small flat owners are absolutely right to throw their hands up and complain. They're paying for the cost of the running of this open space. They're having to share it with somebody else. There are all the issues about security. Do you have dogs? Do you not have dogs? Blah, 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 blah. Let's not go there. Let's not create this rod for our own back. It's avoidable. I think you can distinguish the... I'm glad that you had the example of IFC. That's a very legitimate point. When Sun and Guy went to Town Planning Board to get the approval for the tall tower, the argument was the original scheme, the original MLP, Master Layout Plan, showed 3 towers. And what Sun and Guy suggested was that you put 2 towers, one on top of the other. The whole idea was to create some open space at the podium level. Good idea. Okay, but make it accessible. But to what degree do you make it accessible? On a scheme like that, and I think in the guidelines it's quite clearly spelt out, that where you don't have strata title, Sun and Guy and Henderson's are going to keep that IFC, apart from the Monetary Authority who bought the top 10 floors or whatever, but substantially it's going to be retained by Sun and Guy and Henderson's. They're very happy to pay for the management and maintenance of that open space, because if that is allowed to deteriorate, then it's going to just reflect on that. Now, how you get access and how you do all of these things, those are issues that can be worked out. It shouldn't be 24 hours. Somebody said it's like the MTR. You've got security issues. You've got some very, very high-profile people as tenants inside of IFC. No, the Monetary Authority, no less. They don't want people being able to wander around 24 hours a day. That isn't very good. You know, there are genuine security issues, both public and private. But this is something that I think can be worked out. Looking at some of the other issues that I think are relevant in coming up with the discussion, please do not ask the developers to stand in front of the district council and talk about the management regime. You're asking for trouble. It's oil and water. If you're going to have these systems set up, will you please get the plan organised? Will you please do the consultation? Will you please go to the district council and then put it in the lease and tell the developer precisely what he's got to do, and he'll go and do it. And that way you're going to reduce the problems, you're going to actually smooth it all out. That goes also for your proposed designing panel for greenery and landscape. Oh my God, just yet another layer of approval. Do you know how long it takes to get a CDA approved through Town Planning Board? Why can it not be subsumed into that? That's a question I'd like to ask you. The planning department have got landscape people, they've got urban designers, they've got the people with the skills that you need. And surely it could be done as part of the overall CDA process. You don't need something else on top of it. Similarly, for these large schemes, you have to consult with the district council. Include this as part of the consultation. Don't please add another layer. More bureaucracy, slowing down the development process even more. Not good for Hong Kong, really. And my final thought, keep mixing it up. These deeds of dedication that come out of the buildings ordinance. Would you please read the small print? Small print's always important. Those deeds of dedication are for public passage. It's very clearly spelt out under the buildings ordinance. They are not open space. Please do not confuse the two. Keep them separate. That's all I've got to say.